Hello YouTube, it's Melanie here with Addicted to Planning. I am finally getting around to filming my 2024 lineup for my planners, and I know I am exceptionally late to this game, and I'm sorry, but it literally took me to like the last week of December to figure out or to finalize and come to a good place on what I was going to use for 2024. And not because I didn't want to use any of these things, but more because I wanted to use all of these things and to include a digital planner on my iPad. Um, but this is where I've landed, sort of, because this little pile right here is essentially what I'm not using, and I need to decide what to do with. So I will move that off to the side. My intention is to film a few videos. So the first one, I'm just going to talk about the overall plan, and then I'm going to talk about each one individually and give you a walkthrough. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you might recall my very first video, which actually is coming up on almost 8 years ago, and where I said this. Anything. And I do keep both business and home in this one journal. I have one life, I have one planner. Okay, she sounds judgy. Don't be judgy. So it was in July of 2023 that I decided to split out my work from my personal. And there are four reasons for that. The first one is because I often show my planner on this channel. I was always concerned that there was something written down that I really shouldn't be sharing. And so that always had me a little bit nervous. The second thing is because I would bring my planner into work meetings, and sometimes it just looks really cute. It's a little pretty, and someone might have thought that I stole my daughter's planner, and it didn't look overly professional. Let's just go with that. And so that kind of made me nervous. I mean, this is my creative outlet, and so not being able to, or being nervous to share it, or to show it, or to have it seen in a meeting, um, I didn't like how that felt. So that was the second reason for pulling out work. The third and biggest reason is because I don't need to archive work. Um, Hang on, I'm going to show you another planner. All right, again, if you've been here for a while, then you've probably seen this one. This was my 2020 planner. So what I learned recently, I guess it was probably July when I split this out, was that I am in a system typically for about 25 months. That is 1 month longer than 2 years, and which is unfortunate and not, a great plan. But anyway, so I was in a Filofax, I was in a personal sized traveler's notebook. I was then moved into the hardbound bullet journals, and you probably have seen most of these on my channel, or could see most of these on my channel. In 20, I think it was 18? Yeah, it had to be 20, no, 2019. I moved into a Hobonichi Weeks, and I got half the year essentially in 2019. I got all of 2020, and then I got to about June of 2021 in a Hobonichi Weeks, at which point I moved to a digital planner. And then I went from digital planning in June of 2021 all the way up until July of 2023. And I loved it. I did. But then I was like back to, I feel the need for paper. And I did pick this one up. I got nostalgic. I liked flipping through it. And what I realized when I was flipping through it is I don't care what work tasks I had at the time. This is going to become, a great memory keeper and archive for me. But who cares what meetings I had? Who cares what, work to dos I had to do? So I was like, I don't want these in here anymore. So that's when I decided to split it out. And then the fourth reason for taking work out of my system or separating it into its own system is what's great is I don't have to think about it on the weekends. I just don't care. I don't have to stress about what's coming up on Monday, especially if I'm memory keeping or just writing down, what tasks the family and I have to do over the weekend. I don't have to think about work. And that has been game changing for me. So having a separate book for work has been wonderful. And it's been since July in a pocket sized Deutschterm 1917 dot grid, just bullet journaling. Ultimately, what I had to learn, and it took a little while to get there, is what do I need in my personal life and what do I need in my business life? So, my personal life, I need the monthly calendars I need the weekly calendars. I sometimes need daily, depending on how busy we are. I definitely need note paper so that if we've got projects around the house or if we're taking a trip or anything like that, that I can write stuff down in. But for work, I don't need any of those. Well, that's not true. I still need note paper, but I need the daily bullet journal. I do not need a weekly. I do not need a calendar for the month. All of those things are housed within Outlook for me. So what I definitely need in work is I need to be able to daily bullet journal. Just write down my tasks, write down the things that happen, migrate things forward. And if it took a little while also because if you remember some of my old videos, I said that the forward planner is missing from obviously the bullet journal, and that was a big deal for me. So what I've started to do in work, and I'm jumping ahead probably to this video, but I've just been putting them on my calendar. If there's something date specific that I need to do, then I just put a little task on my calendar. And I don't mark it as busy. It's just for me that when I'm, sitting down and writing down what I need to do the next day, I will add that to my daily task pad and probably just delete it from my calendar. But date specific goes on my calendar. And if you follow GTD, that's essentially what he says you need to do. If you are writing down your tasks and everything like that, especially on your next steps or whatever, your context lists. I haven't done the actual GTD method in a while, but he said if it's date specific, it shouldn't go on a to-do list. It should actually go on your calendar. So that is this book. So if you remember from October, I got this passport sized traveler's notebook, and I'd been using it essentially since then with other inserts. But then I settled on, because again, I struggled. Originally, I got the Nolty 1180, thinking that that was what I was going to use in the passport for 2024. I really love the idea of everything being in one book. It's got this cute little notebook at the end, kind of like a Hobonichi Weeks does. It's got the monthly pages. And it's funny because Lindsey Scribbles, I know you all follow her channel, she mentioned something in one of her videos about how she's trash for aesthetics, and I was like, wow, I really felt that one. I'm kind of similar. And this little plastic, cover bothered me. And I racked my brain thinking I would come up with some other way to, get this inside something leather and, that I would like to use more. But I never got it's a little bit smaller, so obviously you're losing some um, real estate on a page. And yeah, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to sit this in here. So I bought this. I don't know what I'll use it for, if I can donate it, gift it to somebody. And then I got the Travelers Company ones as well. And I got the Sterling Ink ones, which I will show when I walk through this planner. And going between the two, I think the thinner paper in the Sterling Ink was what drew me there, as well as the weekly pages, these right here. These all have a grid, which I liked. Um, and, I don't know. I couldn't decide, but I went with the Sterling Ink. So I still have these. Now I really want the stickers that's inside of them, but I'm thinking I might sell them. Haven't decided yet. And then, of course, I had to order a Hobonichi Weeks. And this is the cover that I got. I wish I could say I knew which one it was, or could dare pronounce the name, which I know I can't. And if you notice, it's not a mega. And the reason I didn't bother with a mega is because a lot of the writing that is at the back of this in the bullet journal section were tasks for work. So it took up a lot in this notebook, which I no longer need because I'm not using it for work. So I thought I could get away with however many pages are at the back of this. You guys are, I'm sure, confident, or I'm confident you guys are familiar with the Hobonichi Weeks, so you know I think there's like 70 something. 73 pages. I'm confident 73 pages would get me through the year. But I needed something new to look at. And even when I was digitally planning on my iPad, the planner I used was inspired by Hobonichi Weeks. It had the weekly layout on one side, it had the notes pages on the other. It was grid. It had the monthly calendars that looked a lot like Hobonichi. So I just wanted something new to look at. So still have this, haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. I'm trying to think of other ways that I could use these and then become that I have lots of planner person. Is this content for YouTube? Is this, which I don't, could you imagine as often as I do a video, like this book's go to waste, but maybe it's a health journal. Like, I don't know. I've got to come up with either a plan to sell these or something to use them for, because them being in my drawer empty makes me sad. So anyway, so this is now my work bullet journal. Um, it's got all my just daily bullet journaling in there for daily tasks for work, but I use my calendar obviously as well to get things done. And I've got to tell you, I've been really enjoying it. I did order, let me see if I can pull it over here. I did order a leather cover for it because, again, trash for aesthetics. Um, but it was just so bulky. At that point, I didn't enjoy reaching for it as much. So I took it out and went back to this and just throwing this around like in a bag or just in my hand. I mean, it's so light and so, you know, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to stick with this for work. So back to personal. So personal, I have a monthly insert in here, a weekly insert here, and then the blank notebook, which I'm sort of doing bullet journaling in, but I have paper in there if I need it. And then there's obviously some other, like the craft folder, etc. So I will walk through this full planner in more detail in my next video, which I had intended to record next. So will look very similar to this likely. But this way I can upload that one maybe the very next day. So in July, let me get Nolty out of here. In July, I also started to actually journal. And there were some, fits and starts and stops, and just it never worked for me. Originally, I had I gotta hope there's nothing personal here, but anyway, I had the B6 Slim. This is the Nanami Cafe Notes notebook. I did order this, which is the Superior Labor and Baumkuchen collab. It's like a canvas with some leather trim. I don't love it. I don't enjoy holding it. Certainly don't enjoy smelling it. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do about that yet. I might sell this and try to find a leather one. But since I only journaled in here from October 1st to December 31st, um, and then I decided to move into a traveler's notebook, maybe I won't replace the cover. This will just go on a shelf. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll come back to the B6 Slim size because it really was a nice size daily journal. Great place. Like you could still put stickers down and left enough places to write. You could, and it wasn't overwhelming. Like one page for a day was fairly easy to fill up. Not a huge undertaking. So I didn't shy away from journaling thinking, ugh, like I just don't have it in me to go and write all. No, it was fine. It was great. I enjoyed it. So I moved into the Midori. I said Midori because actually mine really is a Midori. Um, so a standard size traveler's notebook. Inside I have one of the Sterling Ink vertical weekly notebooks, which is a half year. The second half is in a drawer. And then she just recently released the, I think there's like 200 and something, 269, I think, 270 pages roughly. They are numbered, which is great, especially if you wanted a bullet journal in it. I probably won't, so the numbered pages didn't matter as much, but she had been sold out of, and she calls this N1, she was sold out of the N1 sized notebook for a long time. So at that point, I was like, I'm just going to buy the one that has the numbers. I don't care. And it was roughly, I mean, there's a little bit of the should I be hoarding pages um, mentality or feeling because 270 is not 360, what is it, 6? No, 365, right? 366 days in 2024. That's not a page per day. I know that. And so part of me is like, oof. And I think I did the math. It's like 90 days that I can't put in this notebook. So will there be some days where I skip? Absolutely. There's already been two this week. Are there maybe days where I fit two on a page because I didn't have as much to write? Then yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to get the full year into this notebook back here. If this starts to get a little fat, I will probably split it out into a second traveler's notebook. This one, by the way, was just the worst for the wear. I got this in 2014, so that's almost 10 years ago, and I journaled in it or wrote in it a tiny little bit at the very beginning. I just realized that that's clearly not still in here. Um, and then I stuck it on a shelf and I didn't pull it out again. And this poor thing, while I'm all about getting the patina on it. I can't wait for that to happen. It didn't, that's not what happened to it now that it's almost 10 years old. It got dried out. It was like just really light and sad and dry looking leather. So I did condition it. I may pop some video or some pictures here somewhere to show you what that looked like. And then I had to restring it because those were exceptionally stretched out, dry. They had no elasticity left. So I restrung the strings in it, which I was really happy. It worked out really well. And then a friend of mine, Danny from DaniPlanorama, you might follow her channel as well. She went to Tokyo, I think it was November, and she asked if I wanted her to pick me up anything while she was there. And so I told her to surprise me. And so she did. She went to the Starbucks Reserve Roastery and she brought back a couple of charms and she brought back the clip and she brought back the brass ballpoint pen. And then a bunch of inserts. So that was exciting. So now the charm and the clip live here. And so I'm thinking, well, I can't probably show you the actual, it's only a couple of days into January, so there's only a few pages in here. Well, I can't actually show you that. I can probably give you still a little high level walkthrough. I do want to memory keep in that first insert. So that actually is today. That insert is blank right now, but we are Sunday at the end of the very first full week of January. And so I can probably start figuring out how I want to do that. I love watching videos on YouTube of how people do that. So let's see if I can become one of those people. So is that everything I wanted to tell you? Probably. I want to do some more videos on digital planning just for the people who are kind of curious as to what that is, because it is still pretty amazing. I do love it. I have so many stickers there. I could probably print some out and just cut them out and use them in my planners because I really did enjoy them. But I wanted to feel paper again and I wanted to feel pens. But yeah, like 2 years of washi basically going yellow and bad. I didn't know that was a thing, but it is. Pens being dried out, Tombos that I gave away, stickers that I thought I would never touch again. They're all coming back into my life. Um, so that is kind of like a high level of where I am for 2024. Memory keeping and journaling in the standard TN. Personal planning in the passport size TN, and then work in a pocket-sized bullet journal. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you clicking on this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.